Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I've got a card to share with you using the popped up die cut inlay technique using the birthday message cover plate from Hero Arts. So I'm starting off by ink blending onto a panel of white cardstock. This is just slightly larger than 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and I'm using Hero Arts Reactive inks to add the ink onto it. These are the new Hero Arts blending brushes. They are absolutely beautiful. They come as a pack of 2. This is the larger size, so you get a pack of 2, one slightly larger and one slightly smaller. I just have the one at the moment, but they are so beautiful and they ink blend really nicely, so I'm definitely going to grab a few more when I can. So I'm using Reactive inks today from Hero Arts for the ink blending. These inks are lovely, I have to say. They're one of my favourites. They're similar to Distress Oxides in that they are a water reactive hybrid ink, so half pigment, half dye ink, but they don't have the oxidization properties that oxides do. And personally, I really love that. I just like having, like, if I'm going to do the water reaction, I like just having it kind of look like dye inks, if that makes sense. That is obviously just a personal preference and they work in different ways, but I absolutely love these inks. I'm not using them today for their water reactive properties, but I am using them because they ink blend really nicely. So the first colour that I used was Key Lime Fizz, and then I'm going in here with the Pool Party colour. This is one of my favourites. At this point I'm really just laying down the colour so that I can see where I want them all to be. I'm not necessarily trying to blend all of the colours together. So next I'm going in with Splash, and at this point, although I wasn't trying to sort of blend the colours together, I wasn't really getting a necessarily smooth layer of ink. And when I go on to the next colour, it gets even worse. And I was thinking, oh no, this is really not working. I don't know about you, but some days I just don't ink blend that well and I don't colour that well, and then other days I'm a lot better, and I don't know why that is. It's just one of those things. But here, this lovely purple galaxy colour just was not working very well. It's not the ink itself, it is my ink blending brush. So I changed to a larger brush and it did work a lot better. But at this point I was still thinking I'm just probably going to have to throw this panel away. I knew that I was going to have a darker colour in between these two shades, but I still thought it just wasn't going to work. I'm not sure about my blending brushes. Over time, some of them just don't seem to be holding the ink very well. These brushes, apart from the one that I used at the beginning, the Hero Arts ones, these are kind of cheap makeup brushes from Amazon. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to throw a few away because they just not seem to be working very well. I think I've probably either overused them or I've washed them too many times. I think probably it's the washing thing because I do wash my brushes a lot. And so it took me some time here to kind of blend all of the colours together. I got there in the end and I think I got a really nice blend, but it did take a lot, a lot of time. So I'm going in here with that really pretty Key Lime Fizz at the top and then just going back in with that Pool Party again to try and blend those all together. Like I said, I got there in the end, but it took quite a bit of time. Next, I wanted to add a kind of a subtle pattern to this background. So I'm using the Hero Arts Sky Stencil pair. So one of them is clouds, and then I'm going to use this really lovely star one. So I'm going to place that over the top of my panel, just adhere that down with some memo tape. And then I'm going to ink blend through it with Hero Arts Unicorn Pigment ink. This is a really lovely kind of creamy white pigment ink. And I'm using an ink blending tool with a sponge on the end so that I can kind of pounce the colour through the holes in the stencil. And I do go over it quite a few times just so that I get a really nice kind of bright white. It's not going to be like really bright. If I did want it to be bright, I could have pounced in some kind of like Watermark ink or something like that and adhered embossing powder to it if I wanted it really bright, but I didn't really want that. I just wanted a nice kind of more subtle, but I still wanted it to be quite white. So now I can remove that memo tape, peel that back, and I love this. I just think that looks so pretty. Because it's pigment ink and I'm notorious for managing to smear ink, I'm just going to heat set that with my heat tool. Next, I've taken the Hero Arts birthday message cover plate and I'm going to die cut that out. This is why I cut my cardstock just a teensy little bit bigger, so that I can have a little bit of room on the side to adhere that down while I run that through my die cutting machine. And at the other end, I want to make sure that I keep all of the little pieces together because I'm going to inlay them back in. But I couldn't figure out a way to do it at the time. In hindsight, I wish I'd grabbed a piece of press and seal, and then I could have just stuck all of the pieces on the back of that and had it as one whole piece, and actually that would have been really helpful to adhere it down onto the card as well. But I didn't think of that at the time, so I'm using the stamp packaging and kind of just pressing all of those pieces in just so that I can keep them where they are, because I want the star background to kind of remain as one whole kind of image, if that makes sense. So I want all of the stars to be in the right places with the letters, and because of that, you know, like you've got happy, the letters could be in any which way. At this point I could have got a 2-for-1, so I could have stuck this down just directly onto a card base, had the letters be white on the inside, and then used the other pieces on a separate card and done it like that, and I could have got 2 cards for one die cutting. But I decided that I did want to add them back in and do the inlay technique because I do quite like that. It does take a little bit of time, but I do like the finished result. So I'm just sticking that down with some Hero Arts precision glue, just using my bone folder just to stick that down. And then I have die cut the die another 3 times from white cardstock. So I've got all of the little pieces in this little bowl here, and I'm going to inlay them back in. So I've added that glue on the inside of the letters, and then I can just kind of pop them all in like a puzzle piece. This did take some time. I mean, as I said, personally, I don't mind that it took the time because I do like the finished result. But if you didn't want to and you liked it with the white inside, you could just do this and then stop. I think that would look really nice. But I do quite like having the letters back in. And because if you put the letters back in, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to read what the message says. So I do like to pop it up, because in real life, it's still slightly difficult to see on camera, but in real life, with them being popped up, you can see it quite easily, and I think people look at it and kind of go, oh, how did she do that? So it's quite a nice sort of thing to look at, I think. So here I finished the white layers, and as I went along I did get a little bit quicker with it. I kind of placed all of the pieces out onto my work surface, kind of like you would do with a jigsaw puzzle, and now I'm just adding all of those bits back in. I do apologise that my head basically covers this, so I cut a lot of it out, but I'm just want to make sure that those stars are lining up perfectly with each other. And that is the top layer done. Like I said, in real life you can see that it says happy birthday to you, but sometimes on camera I'm not sure it comes across as well as it probably could. I do want to add an accompanying sentiment, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment out onto some Hero Arts pitch black cardstock, and the sentiment is enjoy your day, and that's from the birthday messages stamp set. So I'm using the mini MISTI here. I have prepped my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool. I got rid of the excess powder, and then I'm inking the stamp up with Hero Arts clear embossing and Watermark ink, and then applying Hero Arts detail white embossing powder, and then I can just heat set that until it's completely melted. I do like to heat from the front and the back, just using a Swiffer cloth just to remove any excess anti-static powder. And then I'm using the kind of sentiment strip type die from the Bouquet accessories dies, and it's got a fishtail banner on one end, so I cut it first and then I lined it back up and then run it through the die cutting machine again so that I've got that banner on both ends. And then I'm just using some tape runner here just to adhere that down. I'm using the T-square ruler just to make sure that that's straight. And that's the card finished for today. I do think it looks a lot nicer in person, that you can see the kind of popped up look of the letters. Links to the products that I used will be in the description bar on YouTube and also over on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.